Okay, one thing I was really interested in, Sam, was that you're following scientific method. So it is the type of practical we would do in my chemistry classroom, in our biology classroom. How do you think performing this as a research project made it different to just following a practical in the classroom? Or designing a practical in the classroom?
The main difference for me is that I had no guidelines. I had sort of no help from anyone else. I had to create my own guidelines, my own method, and all that sort of.
So it's not as direct as in a classroom. Well, we have some, even in a design pack, we'll give you some idea of what we're trying to get you to achieve in that time. Yeah.
And the results are a big part of an experiment, and in class, as you said before, we can sort of expect or start to have an idea of what the results will be.
Yeah, and that's probably a downfall. As a science teacher, sometimes we do set you up with an expectation that you will achieve these results, even if it is a design prac. But obviously you've got to work with whatever comes out of your investigation.
Yeah, that's a big sort of part of your own research, is that you don't actually know what your results are going to show, because it may be the first time you've ever conducted this experiment, or you don't really get a school student doing this type of experiment.
Yeah.
You may have thought it might be a university student.
Which is probably closer to the realities of a proper research scientist looking investigating. You may not obtain really what you expect out of there. With all that lead time as well to prepare and develop your question, it's not like turning up to a classroom and jumping into a practical. Did you find you benefit from the fact that you could research and learn a lot more about really what you were considering before you even got to the stage of performing a practical?
I found all the time and all the sort of, because I did my prac in term 4, I had most of term 3 and the term 3 holidays to sort of fiddle around and sort of think about it, sort of let me sort of like almost digest the questions and what I was going to be looking for. So that was sort of very interesting, and it sort of made me more interested and more keen to find out the results.
Okay.
So,
and one thing that we requested was that there's a lot more reflection in this process as a journey. So did you find that ability to sort of reflect along the way changed maybe in direction in what you were doing with the task, or allowed you to explore it more deeply even?
Throughout I was constantly reflecting and writing journals, so I could always look back at what I thought or how I thought I was. Throughout the whole thing, research project is actually a big part of year 11 and part of year 12 at Ainsbury. But when you break it down to little bits, you realise that this bit here will take you this long, but timing and sort of being able to sort of capture your emotions at the time is quite hard. So you have to always do journals.
I think just realising each component is an important part of the process, rather than walking in, doing a practical, and sometimes not knowing always why you're doing the practical, knowing what you should expect but maybe not getting it. So it's that time to explore and acquiring.